Welcome on back and gather round, gang. It's time for some more Total War Warhammer 3. We are back for another early game legendary guide, this time heading over to Boris Ursus and his Ursun Revivalists, whom I would actually consider being the most difficult of the three. I've probably said this each time now. Boris is easily the hardest of the three. He starts in terrain that is hostile to him, and he is fighting Khorne demons right off the bat, and his next two opponents are Archaon and Kevin, the Demon Prince, which is an absolute nightmare. For this legendary guide, like the previous, we'll only be going to about the first 20 turns or so until we've conquered the first few major hurdles in your campaign and have a nice base, then build up and continue your campaign. I mean, as strong as you can for legendary. All sorts of things can happen through the campaign, so this is one of those things where we're only going to go to about the first 20 turns, because your campaign may be wildly different from mine, just based on different events happening, which we want to try to avoid, but we'll do our best to teach you all as we go. This is going to be with the intention that you've played at least a Kislev campaign or two in the past. We're not going to be teaching you all the basics of Kislev itself, just kind of giving my tips for Boris and powering up his campaign as much as possible. We are going to be playing, of course, on Legendary Very Hard with the stats modifier set to neutral. I never touch this because I don't like giving the AI more cheats than they already have. It just makes for a very unfun campaign. What you want to keep in note for Boris is that his starting army is actually fairly strong. He's got Zargard, which are extremely elite line-holding infantry. We've got Armored Kossars for, again, line-holding and some decent skirmish damage. And then Warbear Riders, which are our premier heavy cavalry. They're monstrous cavalry, and they do a lot of damage. Early game, though, these guys are going to be fairly squishy, so we will want to kind of keep an eye on them and keep them alive as much as possible. Keep their numbers up, because even though they are squishy, they're still our main source of damage outside of Boris and his bear. So we'll get to that. For our important faction effects taking note for this legendary campaign, extra devotion for settlements in Chaos Wasteland is incredible. It just helps out a little bit with the natural -8 you're going to have due to playing on legendary. You've got -8 -8 public order and -4 leadership base for all your units. So it's something to keep in mind. You get more movement range, which is awesome. Our garrisons and religion buildings will go in a little bit faster. And then our province capital settlements will also go in a bit faster, which is great. Warbears recruit at a higher tier. Our Warbears will be cheaper in Boris's army and will have more attack and leadership when facing the forces of chaos. And then we're immune to chaos corruption and chaos waste attrition for Boris's force only. So he's going to be our main army that's crusading around in the wastes, while our others are more or less camped out in our major settlements, keeping them safe from the invading forces that are around us. Without further ado, though, let's dive right in.
Ursun woke me to keep this world safe. I intend to do so.
And Boris's voice acting is so good in the trailers. It's a shame that they didn't have the same kind of oomph here for campaign itself. His lines feel very thrown in last second. Poor Boris. In fact, it feels like Boris and Shinzu were meant to be factions that unlocked through the campaign itself. But then Shinzu just never became anything at all, which is a shame. In your Boris campaign, you will not have any kind of settlement off the bat, so we won't worry about planning until we've defeated Corson and taken the Tower of Torment, because until then, we've got nothing. So Fyodor, what do you start with? Kossar Headsman, extra leadership when in own territory, and then immunity to psychology for all of Kislev's units. This is a really good pickup for fighting demons. We are going to be dealing with the psychology bumps for the terror and fear the entire time. Alright, so Fyodor, you join Boris. Strength through faith.
Boris Ursus.
Alright, we'll slice out a bit of my dirtling and then stick it in the nearest airlock and eject it straight into space. For our first battle here against Bloody Sword, our main goal needs to be knocking out these Bloodletters quickly, and then just keeping Corson here, fighting other units that we aren't going to care about as much. Good grief, you have some bonus melee attack and weapon strength. 80? Yeah, stay away from Corson, shoot his friends, achieve victory. Alright gang, welcome to the first battle. For this one, and for any time you're fighting demons of Khorne or just demons in general, you want to find yourself a nice choke point, meaning this little crevice here where they can't flank you, because that's all they're going to want to try to do is run right around, and if it takes them to the edge of the map, hey, guess what they can't do? So that's what we're going to utilize here. Also, for any of your gun troops, you want them to be saturated together. That way, there's a heap of gunfire hitting the same unit, which should hopefully kill them that much faster. When you're fighting units that don't have the demonic trait or the undead trait, it's a little bit easier. because you can just have them run for the hills.
He expects might.
Fear not these soft and idle well.
He expects might. Yet our demon foes aren't going to come after us, which is fun. If we had any magic we could throw it their way. Boris is great because he's got the old Fury of Ursun. He rampages, can cause terror, and gets a bit of bonus damage. Which is going to be so good when he's actually up on Ursun himself. Has a decent amount of bonus V large, which is good against dueling Archaon. You have your ability where you get bonus damage when you drop below half health. Not yet. That's one of the things that makes Boris just an absolute tank. Alright, Warbear Riders, we got a mission for you. Let them walk so they can stay as vigorous as possible. These warbears come on in just to distract. We know they're in here. The idea is to drive the hounds away from the rest of the army. I like they do the exact opposite. Yes, come over here, Warhounds. It's way safe, I promise. Warbears are countered hard by Warhounds of Khorne. Being incredibly cagey, your opponent. I'm not charging into a batch of Khorne demons in the woods. That's foolish. Eventually, you're going to give us an opportunity. And we'll take it. Keep circling. And now charge. Oh, a couple of them got caught anyway. Yeah, like I said, your Warbear Riders, they're good. They need some buffs to be even better. Those Warhounds should be shaken and stirred rather quickly. Get out of there. Yep, and fall back. If you take a little bit of damage, so be it. Shouldn't have enough time to kill any of your units. Although we're probably going to lose the one that's in the middle of the Bloodletters there. Alright, the rest of the foe's army is charging towards our boys like we want. They care a lot about these Warbear Riders. Keep him back a bit. Cross threshold before the pistols start firing, please. And then we'll just surround with the armored Kossars. Indeed. Go run over those the Warhounds once more. Warhound's gone again. Run, 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 run. Run for the hills. You will charge the Chaos Warriors and use 2 start blasting. Bonus charge. Work together, bears. That's some really solid damage. You fire here. You lads get a bit closer. Bears for the charge. Patriarch, come back into these demons, please. Trying to flank us, are they? Not today. Boris, take down that Herald of Khorne. Yeah, they're keeping their Bloodletters back, which is fine. Don't mind that at all. There's you, fall back. Blades, get in there. Up the hill, Warbears, up the hill. Boris beating the smack out of the enemy general. Oh, I grabbed the wrong unit, that's annoying. Slam back in. And the other Kossars come through as well. Extra charge bonus. We're still at 16 of our bears, which is great. And Boris taking a little more damage than I would like. Blast in, Warbears don't take damage, kill Corson. Then back in here. Zargar have you sandwiched. Khorne demons are no joke. After this battle, though, we are going to get as many Kossars as possible, that way we can have plenty of arrows to chuck their way before they get too close. Victory for Boris, but yeah, we lost a good number of the Tsar Guard. That's just going to happen. Our front line's going to get, unfortunately, savaged pretty good here. We are going to go ahead and take the extra experience. Ritual Enforcer is quite nice. Now we need to move in and take... Oh, did we get 2? No, just the 1. Now we need to take the Tower of Torment. Boris is going to pick up that heroic resilience, so that way whenever we drop below half health, you gain some extra stats.
Ursun's disciple.
Let's actually show the exact stats. 14 more melee defense and 8 leadership. It is incredible. Then we march on the tower, which you could auto-resolve, but auto-resolve is going to be very unkind to you, and the fact that there's not a leader here makes this battle much easier. Alright, don't see any reason to change our formation. Let's do this. That is weak, and could not hold us. Khorne's demons and dogs get a bit closer. We'll clash, and then we'll bring in the anvil. The amount of warbears stuck is unfortunate. Nearly time, comrades, nearly time. Give them the business! Get him, Boris! Zargard versus demons. Warbears versus Khorne warriors. Demons versus bullets. Circle quickly, Boris needs help. That extra melee defense, though, coming in clutch. Run these demons down. Are you softened them up? Charge. Khorne's finest flee for the hills. Yeah, way easier when they don't have any heroes. Khorne's lords and heroes are just absolute champions of chaos. Huge difference in those battles. We only lost 7 in this one, as opposed to nothing different. Just 1 extra squad of bloodletters and then a lord losing half of your Zargard. So Khorne is a scary foe. Tower of Torment, though, belongs to us also for this guide. As I've already said a couple times in the previous videos, we're not going to be using any of the DLC units for these factions. That way we are trying to use them as they were intended as base game. You can, of course, add your favorite DLC units or mercenaries from different factions all you want. We will simply not be playing with the DLCs for reasons of making it difficult on us. Our very first construction is going to be an Orthodoxy Chapel to give us some more Orthodoxy support, devotion, and corruption, as well as give the settlement a Patriarch's garrison. The Lost Tsar is going to need a Root Marcher, and Fyodor is going to get the Replenished Troops ability to try to get us some more Zargard quickly. Thankfully, 21 of them are coming back. There's only 90 in a unit, so they are elite and very easy to lose. We'll grab some Kossars, then come on for a Boyar. We've got Dmitri the Cunning or Igor the Judicator, who has 3 Orthodoxy support and the Tools of Judgment. Terror-causing units will grant him 12 attack and defense. This is an incredible ability. And then the corruption drop will be good for dealing with Khorne's shenanigans. This Boyar, though, is going to take attrition. There's nothing you can do about it. And for our first technology, we are going to pick up Ice Sculpting. That way we can actually train some Ice Maidens, something we need. Afterwards, we're going to grab Devotional Creed into Norse Hatred and buff up all of our attack and defense against all of the different demons and Chaos-aligned factions. And then we'll continue to buff up our Kossars and our kind of lower tier units as much as possible, because we're going to have plenty of them. Malachi is going to be the only faction willing to do any trading right off the bat, and that's entirely fine. We won't take any of his gold. We'll get trading, though, with Malachi, and we'll try to keep him alive, but he just does his best to backflip into the annals of history. But keeping Malachi alive would be amazing for Dwarven artillery. After turn 5, you will get an event giving you some tokens for either the Ice Court, the Orthodoxy, or one for each. When you do, especially for Boris, you need to come on in and grab Duty's Reward. This will give us a heap of extra experience facing the forces of chaos, extra campaign movement range after winning battles, and also unlock Chaos Breaker. So you can then cast Thorson's Thunderstorm in any battle involving chaos. It's amazing. Turn 2 is upon us, and what we have to do is get traveling over here to the Monolith of Festerlung, so come all the way up as far as we can travel.
Boris goes.
And so Boris goes. And recruit some more Khazars.
Faithful workers.
Ah, faithful workers. Or Boris also has one of the worst economies out of all of the Kislevites because he starts with a tiny little garbage settlement, and you're forced to push up into unpleasant climate. It is just a tough campaign. Alright, turn 3, we'll go ahead and march on the Monolith of the Festerlung. Beyond even the bear. Yeah, there's nothing here.
Cut them down.
Go ahead and put our Boyar back in normal stance. He can't quite reach. There's an opportunity sometimes where, as long as they have the movement, you can sack the settlement with Boris, move Igior into the settlement itself, and let Boris get as far towards the Burning Monolith as possible, but that doesn't really matter here. Igior, do you follow?
Take their head.
And you've already saw how weak the defenders of the Monolith are here. That's nothing. Nothing threatening in the slightest. And auto-resolve handled. A bunch of arrows and shot from pistols. Turns out it's very effective against demons. Who would have guessed?
My empire grows.
Our empire grows. This Boyar is going to go into march, go past the edge of the Monolith here. Boris, more Khazars. Pretty sure the Kislevites warriors are not a free else unit. If they are, I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. Most definitely. We'll also go ahead and pick up the courthouse here for the Ice Court, and then we'll grab the Salt building once we have passed on through the Monolith.
My supremacy is assured.
My supremacy. Let's grab Inspiring Presence, and then Fyodor is going to have a Solyak's Lullaby to keep our troops as healthy as possible. Alright, next turn, Ice Sculpting is done, an important skill to get Ice Maidens, indeed. They have Death Frost, and Death Frost is like a very chilly Spirit Leech. Can't quite reach the Burning Monolith, can you though, sir? No, you can't either. So, we'll march to the edge of the territory here. Go into an ambush. Igor.
Ready to ambush.
We need to ambush. Be very quiet, Kislevites. There are hot dog men with great swords in the bushes. We don't want to wake them up. And then we'll go ahead and pick up the People Devotional Creed into Norse Hatred. And it's time for the Church and State to have their great debate. This gives us either our Ice Court boons or our Orthodoxy boons. And what we want? It's Orthodoxy boons. These are incredible. They're both great, but getting Duty's Reward, 100% experience gained fighting the forces of chaos, is just too nice to pass up on. Let's go roar the Burning Monolith. There are no demons here,
Cut them down.
so another easy battle, which means the hard one is going to be over at the Howling, the Citadel. Lovely.
We are invincible, Kislev.
On your feet.
It will send the Khazars to join Boris's main force.
I stand for Kislev.
Then we'll go ahead and get the Frost Maiden training. We've got Irsa Mercilis. Welcome, lass. We're very glad to have you. We also need some income. Very badly. Ooh, no, not in the turn. We need to kill the Burning Monolith. And once again, don't let auto-resolve handle this for you. Fight it yourself, but we'll treat this as an auto-resolve. Another easy win, but we did have to sacrifice some Zagar to do it. Oh, I guess there's only 80 of them, not 90. Counting wizard, it's difficult, isn't it? The Blizzard Brooch. Stock and Unspottable's good for one of our casters, but not so good for Boris himself, because he is going to be in everyone's face for the most part here. Ooh, let's sack the settlement. Sure. Seems more like you got a bad attitude. We'll go beyond the monolith here, and allow Igor to just conquer it himself. Father Niklaus's mantle. Santa himself is helping us now. And another ritual enforcer, that's fantastic. Although we are going to start having some issues with the orthodoxy, and we're permitted to have a 0 advantage. Upon conquering the monolith, we have an Oblast Hollow that I'll tear out, and we can repair for 1,000. Now let it repair itself.
Demon Slayer.
Automatically repair, you'll be fine. Grab hard to hit for Boris. Replenish troops for our Patriarch. Getting the secondary point into Soyak's Lullaby, while good, only drops the cooldown by 25%, so it's not like it's a super important pickup over some of the other early skills. Resilience for Igor for the extra melee defense. We definitely need a singular money-making building here. We are struggling. We continue to recruit more Kossars, and we push onward towards the Howling Citadel. Turn 6, the Exquisite Pain are gone. We've got a training decision. We're going to make you an Ice Maiden, of course.
Governor of Kislev's
And then we start marching towards the Howling Citadel. If we can convince them to come outside the walls, that'd be great, but how long is it going to take us to get there? Pretty much 2 turns exactly, so we have no choice. We just have to march.
I love my motherland.
Speed it is. Ooh, hang on now, Boris. We've got a course in here to put down. If we attack with both, he's likely to run. So let's just try to fight them with the single army. He's gonna run either way. I'm pretty positive they have 2 armies. Well, maybe not. This faction used to be led by an exalted bloodletter. And I guess now it's just led by this guy. We'll do some channeling then in EQ order. We'll have you follow.
I said march!
I said march!
There will be no sleep.
There will be no sleep. We'll also go ahead and pick up the market square for a bit of gold. We are struggling for some cash at the moment.
My authority is powerless.
Even though we need more units, we really can't afford them yet, so... Wait, and also an imminent rebellion before we're even at... Oh, look, a rebellion pops up at the Tower of Torment, the furthest away from our settlements as, or our leaders rather, as possible, so that way they can come in and take the tower, and there's nothing we can do about that. That's really unfortunate. We've just got to take out the Howling Citadel. You kind of have to ignore your minor settlements. You're just going to go back into the Citadel as well, which is what we expected. Close victory. Go and continue the siege. And then bring Igor in. Do we recruit another lord down here? Shard Wielder is very good for dealing with single entities. We hit them with a shard, we circle to another spot, we hit them again.
Strength through faith.
Strength through faith. Realized our banners don't seem to be equipped. Are they equipped on the other general? Oh, they are. Give me this mantle of Father Niklaus, thank you. And we'll go ahead and remove Boris from his warhorse. The Patriarch, are you on a warhorse as well? Yep. Remove you from your warhorse for this battle, and let's take down the Citadel. Haste our steel.
Father bears prophet for the throne. Yes!
Defenders of Kislev!
Boris Ursus!
Hussars! The motherland's finest! We fight for Ursun!
The orthodoxy endures!
Ulta Kislev!
motherland's finest!
Ursun's right hand!
Patriarch!
Ursun! For Dash! Salyam!
Full-tough Gislovites!
Stand still! Seeking heresy!
Warfare riders! Taking point!
Obey the orthodoxy!
Boris Ursus!
Hussars! Fight war!
Yes!
Annihilate them! Comrades of the bear!
Hearts of ice! Instruments! Moving! We fight for Ursun! March for Kislev! Retribution!
London forward!
Brigade of Penance!
Hussars! Follow the bear! Useless vengeance!
Sons of Kislev! Hussars!
Boris Ursus!
Blessed by the orthodoxy!
Hearts of ice!
Defenders of Kislev! Hussars!
I am the war! The lost Tsar!
Attack, comrades!
Armored Cossars!
Attack, comrades!
Patriarch!
I live again! Down!
Drinking victory! It is done!
For the throne!
The motherland's finest!
His left chosen son!
Bring them down!
Sons of Kislev! For Kislev! The heretic dies!
Boris Ursus!
Hearts of ice!
The motherland's finest! Taking point! It serves Kislev! Patriarch!
Motherland's finest!
Boris Ursus!
Fight for Ursun!
Comrades of the bear!
Make or die!
There grants us his point!
Observe! Armored Cossars! Making it so!
Yes!
The four as one! Speed!
Ursus, I
Kislev endures! Burns them! Cossacks!
Boris Ursus,
Ursun command!
Born into power!
Warfare Riders!
The motherland's finest!
Bottom!
Hussars!
Slay them!
Warfare riders!
point lost.
Alright, we finally claim our major settlement. I don't know exactly how much of that battle I was muted for, so we'll see if it's any. But I look over and I was like, oh no. Curse the mute's back.
Take it for Ursun.
Bloodfire Falls is ours for now. It's going to pretty much immediately be lost when Olaf attacks.
Nothing to me.
Yeah, somehow you got a pretty decent rebellion force, even though you are yourself. I mean, we didn't actually build up any military buildings, so it should be nothing but marauders, but he got a fairly solid team.
Boris Ursus himself.
Alright, now we have two main enemies besides this random rebellion force we'll have to deal with as well. We've got the Demon Prince, which we're going to kill next. And then we have Archaon. The reason we're not going after Archaon next is simply because he's too far away. We can get in here in after a battle with the Demon Prince just about immediately.
Returns.
No colonization cost faction-wide. That's pretty dang nice. And then we'll go ahead and give Boris a little bit more damage. Or melee attack up to 12. Then we'll go Scarred Veteran after. Back on your war horse, sir.
Of Kislev!
We'll take the glittering scales and hand that over to Boris.
Kislev, the great bear rewards me.
Indeed, and we're just going to have to ignore the Tower of Torment. I love that it came up next to our settlement that is the only one that is not unpleasant climate. Yeah, we're pretty much going to ignore him. Igor is going to stay at the Howling Citadel and play defense. Boris is going to push ahead and go after the Demon Prince. Patriarch only got one skill. What a shame.
Power is my right.
Here at the Citadel itself, we are going to go ahead and grab... It's not even a good market. Oh, how I miss the three major cities of Kislev. It is so little gold. No, I think it is actually the Roadhouse. The growth matters most. I'm sorry, by order of the Tsar. 15% ward save. That might keep us safe. Will it make it so we're deeply in debt? Yes, but we'll survive.
What?
No one wants to trade, so maybe we won't. Maybe we won't. What we will do, though, is we'll pass. Igor, come on either side here. You've been in March so often. Hopefully you get
Pain is irrelevant.
the bonus trait soon. Ignore any damaged buildings, and we pass. And on turn 8 here, we have the quest for the Shard Blade, but because Boris is already rank 8, thanks to our Orthodoxy boons, we could just get 5,000 treasury dumped right into our coffers and the Shard Blade. 6 attack, 12 bonus large, and we can give people a Mortis engine effect that also drains their speed. Frostbite is unfortunate. All-Seeing Eye is also destroyed, but hopefully Kevin has taken some damage.
Demon Slayer.
Hopefully. Now we need to capture 2 provinces onward, that we can get ourselves an adamant.
Ursun's love.
Or spread Ursun's love.
Silence, men.
And then say, hello there,
Nothing to me.
Kevin.
Nothing.
I declare war.
Far beneath me.
Far beneath me.
Bow before me. Advance.
We'll simply
What
walk
is
over
that?
here
I
and grab a
accept
few more
only
Kossars.
loyal men.
We accept only loyal men. And then we'll take an Ice Maiden that is good with money. Because we as a faction are terrible with money. And as we expect, the forces of chaos fall for our ambush. What a darn shame. You guys are so low on units that I'm happy to auto-resolve. Get smacked, idiots. And then we will go ahead. Sacrifice those captives. The Tong rebels then move in and embarrass themselves. What a shame for you guys. Yeah, we'll take the sacrifice here as well. Really boost up that devotion. Now for the Armor of Ursun, we have to take out 3 settlements. This is where we get empowered for losing below 50% health. The armor. Slayer the Godslayer gives us extra relations with all Kislevites factions and less attrition. We also got Boydanov's Brawlers, which are a beautiful, beautiful unit.
Disciple.
Merge these Kossars together, give us 1 extra slot, which we'll use on the Boydanov's Brawlers immediately.
Serve me.
Because shotguns.
Honor, Ursun.
2 more skill points here, we can get... Oh, that's for bears. I was hoping that was for Boris himself. Regeneration is awesome. We'll go ahead and take Scarfet. And for our Patriarch, let's make you harder to hit. There is nothing but utter belief in this one.
Hear me
We can then march in the Crystal Spires without too much trouble.
down.
Oh, there's another army here.
I only serve the changer. Leave me to my manipulation.
Could we handle this? I think so. March!
Sacrifice to Ursun.
Oh, and we can just auto-resolve them.
Take their head.
When you have the opportunity to win an auto-resolve like this, you always should. So let's slaughter Falco here. Yeah, we lose almost nothing. That's incredible. A little bit of Kossar damage we can accept.
My empire grows.
Boris gets a tax collector, and we get ourselves yet another ritual enforcer in Ursun, greatest of all the bear mounts. And an armor of destiny. Things are going real well for Boris.
Absolute.
You can get the Blizzard Brooch and the Glittering Scales, good sir. We'll give you the tax collector. Veteran warrior can go to
My
Igor.
decision is law.
And then Igor, you.
Lord of all.
Oh, they still have Volcano's Heart too. Oh, I thought they had multiple major settlements, which they don't. Igor, you then turn and sprint back to the Howling Citadel. There will be no sleep. Oh, Seeker for old Boris. And Impassioned for Fyodor. We are replenishing quite nicely here. However, we can go ahead and let's combine these two and these two.
Demon Slayer.
We lose some veterancy, but that's entirely fine. We can just recruit a few more Kossars. Extremely replaceable.
Never doubt the boy.
I think we'll remove the farmstead for a market here in the Crystal Spires.
Follow the bear.
Back at the Citadel, we're gathering only 200 income from the entire province, so let's stop collecting. Yeah, that's entirely fine. 1,000 negative a turn. We'll deal. Now let's make you, alas, a logistician. Or movement.
Governor of Kislev's land.
Alright, brother, you're taking a lot of damage. We need to get him into the Howling Citadel.
Bow before me.
We'll give you Iron Disciplinarian to keep the people happy here.
With this, my rule is absolute.
Sounds good to me. Ignore the rest of our notifications. We're just about to get ahead of the Ice Court again. But that gives us our second boon here. We need 3, though, to get Chaos Breaker. That's what we're powering towards. And on the following turn, we've got our Norse Hatred complete, so extra attack, defense, and immune to psychology when facing the Demons of Chaos, Warriors of Chaos, Chaos Dwarfs, Beastmen, and Norska. Ulrika Magnova.
Lost Tsar returns.
Something we don't care about so much, we're going to go ahead and march towards. I'm betting there's an army at the Tower of Flies.
Reborn for Kislev. Onward, proud
So we are going to move on down and threaten the Heart
Stay out of sight.
and the Port of Secrets, both. We'll circle towards getting growth here soon, but for now we're going to pick up the Hooked Axe Blades, and then likely the Festival of Ursa to further boost our devotion and our corruption reduction. And then and only then will we pick up Convalescence and Cold Storage, because they're also only 10 growth and then 10 growth in frozen climates, which we really
I'm a
don't
stronger
have
mother.
that many of, so we don't care about growth so much, we care about crusading against the forces of chaos.
Ursun.
We'll get another Frost Maiden at recruiting, and then here at the Crystal Spires, we shall bring in Irisa. We'll begin collecting income in the Bloodfire Falls yet again, and then we'll go ahead and upgrade the Monolith of Festerlong. That way we can boost our courthouse here. Alright, turn 11. Savage Blow is active, so we have extra charge bonus for all armies of all factions, which is kind of a problem. And then we've got the mission for Hero Becomes a Legend. We need 10 battles, we get an Armor of Silvered Steel.
Boris Ursus.
We could definitely use Orisa for the fight with that filthy Nurglite. I'll hand you our barrier. One of the fun things about dealing with Daniel is they just get all of the Regiment of Renown. Any of them that you might think that there are, they get them for sure.
Hear me roar.
Alright, so let's get close.
Winter
Irisa,
God's
you
child.
come join. We'll kick out one of these weaker groups of Kossars. Or it's doing the bounce.
Winter.
It helps my homeland.
Let's hope, man.
I will.
The demons want to fight. Man, I think we should auto-resolve this one just for the butchery, but we're going to fight it ourselves and see if we can't do a little bit better. That's a Spirit Leech, which is going to be a pain. But if we can get him targeted by the Boydenov's Brawlers, he is going to be a pain only for a brief amount of time. Alright, we're all set up and deployed. Won't go for anything funky like a checkerboard here. We just need maximum DACA. So that's what we're gonna try to do. Maximum DACA and bears to scare off the unfortunate warhounds. Our bears are currently sitting at 67, 45 melee attack and defense with 64 charge bonus. They are going to be an absolute menace. Let's do this.
Ursun's right hand.
Throwing the frost at the flesh hounds is a bad idea just because they'll pretty much ignore it. They're going to try to fly up and over the flank with their flyers, so I'm going to do something like this to stop it. And to spread these Kossars a bit. A fine strategy.
Ursun's footsteps.
So Boris, you and the Patriarch and the Bears go break one of these flanks.
Servant of the bear. Patriarch moving.
Warfare riders!
Come on back. Yeah, they want to go over the top.
Seeking opportunity.
Frost Maiden, can you blast your Ice Shard towards the Plague Toads? That'd be awesome.
And glory.
Ice and Glory. Alright, there we go. Now you lot charge. Break these Plague Toads.
Of Kislev.
Kislevites! Moving!
Boris is gonna charge right on in.
Kislev. Chosen.
Yeah, kill these toads. Garbage unit. Keeping their lord back is so cowardly. Start blasting. Hit him with some cold. Rampage for old Boris. Heals. What are you Warhounds gonna do? Truthfully, what are you Warhounds gonna do? They give us a frontal charge. It doesn't work. Surprise, surprise. And they kill a few.
Frost Maiden.
Keep running, Frost Maiden, keep running. Turn and butcher them. And then you two do the same. Ian needs a hug. A hug made of very spicy materials.
Bringer of
We take damage, now we're fine. Enjoy this ice.
Damn the storm.
It's a wee bit chilly, isn't it?
Sons of Kislev!
Only traitors attack comrades. Well, maybe try to focus your shots where they belong.
The power
Ice
of
shard.
winter.
Alright, pull away. Realize what their plan was, and it's just to kind of lock down the Patriarch.
Sent by the Thor!
Weak trash battle plan, sir.
I am the war.
Meanwhile, his army's been completely rolled.
Sargar! It is done.
Zargard march at them.
Hearts of ice!
You charge into those warhounds. Bears get in there to save the day.
Obey the orthodoxy! Slice them open! Yes!
Ian needs a hug, shotguns get to work. They're shiny. Gathered up a whole oh no, now they're extra shiny. They gathered up a whole gang of shiny pink horrors.
Of ice!
Sour guts detonate when they die, so you don't want to charge them. Demons handled. Just trust the brave warriors of Kislev and you shall be rewarded. We are going to go ahead and take
More workers.
the replenishment. See if we're punished. Oh, we were, but we can use the defeat of Entyro to make it to the Port of Secrets. At least we should be able to.
Hear me roar.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Boris up to rank 12 and gets stout-hearted.
Patriarch of Kislev!
Replenish troops. Now let's go ahead and get the cooldown reduction for Selyak's Lullaby.
Frost Maiden.
And then we'll snag Ice Maiden's Kiss into... Ooh, let's pick up Frostblades. Frostblades and Death Frost are extremely important.
I return.
We will pick up a Tempest Maiden the second time. And in charge in Tyro.
For Kislev.
We'll auto-resolve this time.
The bear
Unleash the dogs. We'll sacrifice them. Should gain just enough. Ooh, and mods map too. That's pretty cool.
taste
We'll hit the Port of
rise.
Secrets next. Just a bunch of Nurgle demons. We put them down. We lose 0. Well done, auto-resolve. Well done. Let's loot and occupy.
Bear needs it all.
We gained 2 mods map? That doesn't seem legal. No, we just got the 1. Good, the FBI aren't gonna show up. So we got Warbear for Fyodor, so he's now an absolute monster. And he is a hero that has become a legend.
Maiden of the Frosts.
Yeah, we can't give you Mads map. That would be a bad idea.
Oya. No other may wield it.
Boris
The
Ursun.
Great Reclaimer. Would have been great to get before we picked up the settlement here. Band of Brutes' armor and bonus V infantry. Now we'll grab Brother of Bears. 12 bonus V large roll for Warbear Riders sounds amazing.
For the great orthodoxy!
Replenish. And Death Frost.
Faithful workers.
Faithful workers. These Gossars are replenishing quite quickly.
King Brook, no hesitation.
Highborn son.
Brook, no hesitation. I say we keep things on by order of the Tsar. Would love to recruit some more troops for Egior. They're going to be 100 each. We'll grab 2 more. That 14,000 is going to start wearing thin, but it's going to take a little bit.
Demon Slayer.
Repair for 1,000, repair for 400. Let's repair for 400 and let the other one automatically fix itself.
Great Bear would see you dead, fiend.
I guess it was only a matter of time, but our ball's gonna choose to come after us now. Strength rank 2 in the entire game. Oh, I see everyone's just gonna go ahead and declare war on us now. Fair enough, here comes Archaon. Well, it's turn 12, and now we have 4 new enemies, which is great. Archaon and our ball both have problems to deal with, but you know you gotta kick in your anti-player bias and deal with the player, of course. We're gonna ignore them. Like I said, your settlements with Boris really don't matter all that much. We are a Crusader, more than anything else. We'll into the Tower of Flies, and if the Volcano's Heart ends up being our next capital, hey then, so be it. We ought to resolve and lose 4.
It is Kislev now.
We can't stay here and deal with rebellions as well, so we'll just go ahead and occupy Armor of Ursun. And now we can get the Golden Knight. That would be awesome. The fact that we're about to lose this province means we should probably have Igor fall back. They're going to take down the Monolith, move through, take down Festerlong, and likely stay there. They're just going to conquer all of our minor settlements, because the AI is, the word is cowardly, truth be told. We'll grab the Great Reclaimer here.
Faith eternal.
The word is indeed cowardly. We'll pick up Wild-Eyed.
Blizzard's embrace.
Then you, madam, will upgrade Deathfrost. You're going to need it for the Everchosen.
Ursun's disciple.
But if we can continue to build up our own power while running away, that's what we're doing. We're going to also pick up the courthouse, just continue to build up supporters and skills, and then we'll club Archaon with an ice halberd. Shard for you as well.
Power is my right.
Igor, we'll just keep recruiting troops. If we're gonna lose the Citadel, we might as well lose it with blood. And Archaon's bloody march begins. Absolutely nothing we can do here. The coup will also show us how cowardly they are, attacking one of our minor settlements. Neat. Free speech is not a right. And we gotta get rid of him. The good news is we have some hooked axe blades done, so all of our Kossars, armored Kossars, because the Light Warriors, still see. And Dakshina have more melee defense. Then we march on the Volcano's Heart. Vile pus
Preposterous.
porpoise lax. That's quite the name, and a pretty terrible garrison, so we'll knock that without our resolve as well. And then we'll simply claim it for Ursun. The Legion of Chaos is gone. So now we can focus entirely on Archaon and our ball. Which, out of the two, we are going to kill Archaon. So that is our next focus.
Things may get unpleasant for you.
I'd rather they don't, so what if I give you a payment of... Oh my goodness, you want a lot of gold. I'm concerned it's not going to matter. And if he comes after us too, then we have way too many problems. Yeah, let's give a little bit of our gold over here as a small gift.
How flattering. How foolish.
Sure, buddy, sure.
This should be good.
That is not improving very much. Just gave him a whole bunch of cash.
Hear me roar.
Well, here at the Volcano's Heart, we have a roadhouse for growth. We could try to upgrade the Crystal Spires, but it's very unlikely that we'll succeed. I'm glad they're so close together.
Lord of the provinces.
Archaon can't quite reach, neither can Bastion.
You're a
We have some time.
I accept only loyal men.
Oh, if only I could bring in the Beowulfs. Those are all DLC units, so we won't use them. But it is a bummer. 4 turns for that to build is extremely concerning.
Son. I demand absolute loyalty.
More troops, Igor, more troops. Let's get Quartermaster here with supplies. And then the Festival of Ursun or Pirates weapons. Next, we shall pick up Siege Mentality and Prague Veterans. Extra melee defense under siege, extra ammunition all the time, and then a nice bit of reload time reduction when under siege, and then we have just base missile damage for all of our Kossars, of which we have an absolute ton. Afterwards, we'll probably go in after bear baiting, Frenzy for only 2 units, though, is really
Ursun
just not...
sends us a gift.
It's good, but it's not so strong as that it would warrant going that way aggressively. Negative relations to the Ice Court for no reason, that's fun. As for our Ice Court boons, we'll go ahead and pick up the Treaty of War. Lords gain more experience by 30%, and then also 200 every single turn. Extra point for Boris. Let's go ahead and pick up Fearless Fighter, make him a much scarier duelist. 61 bonus versus large.
Winter's Call.
Puts him higher than Kolek at current. He won't hit as hard as Kolek, but he will at least have a much higher chance of hitting you. That costs 2,500. We're going to go ahead and save it then. Keep trying to upgrade only our major settlements.
I stand for Kislev.
By order of the Tsar here as well. And we pass. Alright, turn 14 is upon us. Our ball is sailing across the ocean blue. I guess this small fjord here. And then we've got an unusual location of the Port of Secrets, which is completely RNG based. And we've got, an Elven Fort. 40 extra relations with High Elves, 5 growth, 5% trade resources produced, and then 10% income. Cool thing, though, is those 4 Lothar and Seaguard. Get him to snog. No thanks. We'll deal with that later on. Alright, Boris. It is a cheek moving time. Let's get going. Archaon is very likely right next to the Howling Citadel. Let's go see.
Take me there.
He's not. Oh, he just conquered the Burning Monolith. That's actually amazing for us. Gives me a little bit of time.
Bow before me.
Bow before me. Let's get Iron Disciplinarian. So with Tor here for 5 turns, we get access to Thorson's Thunderstorm, 800 barrier hit points, 50% less vigor loss, and then 25% more weapon strength. That sounds ridiculous. Activate the Invocation of Tor. Boris just needs a whole cheek.
Power.
We really can't recruit anymore, and you know what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take out the walls here, because good grief are those expensive. And we need to pocket that cash. As for you there, Frost Maiden. Let's go for another economist. We need the money. And we'll go ahead and build the market square instead. Still uses up a little bit of our cash, but it will stave off the negative. As long as Boris can get close enough to help, we're in good shape. Will, in the interim, we of course get attacked by the Cool. I kind of thought we would have access to the Thunderstorm for the entire area here. But no, it looks like the invocation is just for the province capital, which we're being torn apart here one summon at a time. I don't know why they consider that your capital, but sure. Macrina's training is done. Alright, and Boris managed to make it back in time.
It is Ursun's wish. We must
He's going to be in March, but that's entirely fine. Really wish we had a bit more income trickling in, but also now we can pick up Chaos Breaker, so every battle will have the Thunderstorm. So it looks like our Ball's army is right here. And that's our Ball himself, and then we got Ragnar off to the side going after the dwarves, which will not be around for long. We have a lot of enemies around us here, but I'm not really all that concerned.
I love my mother.
We'll be fine. How I love my motherland.
Governor of
We will upgrade the merchant traders of the Howling Citadel, but not the Citadel itself. And then yet again here we pass. Turn 16 is upon us. We've got our siege mentality research, so extra defense, ammunition, and reload time while under siege. And then we've got the Age of Rage, some more Khorne corruption. Usual locations are popping up really quickly too. Oh, of course, that one's gonna be negative. Income, Winds of Magic experience gain, but the Tzeentch corruption spreads, which means rebellions. And there's just nothing we can do about that. Alright, Boris. Must be smoten. Can't see any Chaos Armies. This looks like it could be someone in Campston. No, it's just a icon on the map. There's really no telling where anyone is. Lovely. So, Boris, here's what you're gonna do.
Ursun's disciple. Onward, proud men.
There's Archaon. We found you. What do you mean, no?
Prepare
What do you mean, no?
Tsar marches.
Lord of all.
Igor, come on, elf. We are going to leave the safety of the Citadel behind. For the opportunity to ambush Archaon the Everchosen. That is going to be glorious. We also really need some more Ice Court support.
But now I...
Cost 260, we'll bring you in.
Maiden of the
The Maiden of the Frosts.
Gifts of winter.
Alright. We still haven't met the Ice Court, which is kind of frustrating. They're right down to the south. We haven't met them. So no trade with Katerin.
Reborn.
Alright, and we don't get the ambush, but Archaon does move in and we get the auto-resolve.
Now there is
You love to see it, man. Let's take the... We don't need the replenishment. We're going to go for the Pardon this time.
not harm his
Huge heap of cash. And there's Doomslayer. Oh, good.
Denied.
Do you guys ever get tired of just being utter cowards? I don't think they do. I think they enjoy it. Well, we got Doomslayer either way, so extra spell resistance, physical resistance, and melee attack when facing off against the forces of chaos by 2 for our entire army. An excellent victory. Trait, and then our ambush was foiled. Yeah, I didn't expect it would be a successful ambush.
Follow winter's call.
Are there other
First I must study.
armies of the Monolith? No. Yes.
Tempt me not.
High Priest of Ursun. Now you may see.
Oh, that replenishment feels bugged. We were getting way more than that before. Yes, we're in an area that is going to be giving us a lower replenishment than normal, but still, that feels bugged.
All chaos must be smoothed.
Let's encamp stance down towards the Monolith of Festerlung. Igor, you can kick out. They're 100 each. That's only freeing up 400 gold. It's not that much. We'll let them keep taking out our smaller settlements, and we keep upgrading our large ones. 5,000 there we can actually afford. That ward save is just incredibly good. Boris, let's pick up Band of Brutes. Zargard is more tanky, and then we have Glorious Charge for the entire army. Charge bonus lasts for 20 seconds, and you get a debuff to your leadership as if you've been hit from the flank. It's pretty nasty.
Control the frosts.
Speaking of, Crystal Sanctuary with Boris and all of his bears, giving them 80% ward save is going to be fantastic. They can't move. I think they'll be okay.
How fares my homeland?
Well, your homeland doesn't seem to be doing great either, truth be told. Although, Khorne got pushed back. So that's cool. Alright, well the cool attack is in the Board of Secrets, and while I have access to these Lothar and Seaguard, and I think if I fight this one I can probably win, you likely will not have the Lothar and Seaguard, so we'll just auto-resolve this one, that way we are kind of keeping in line with what you all will be seeing if you are attacked by the Cool, because this is just how the AI works. On Legendary, they are not interested in attacking your large armies or trying to give you a good fight. They're interested in taking away all your small settlements. That's just all they care about. They're so cowardly and weak, it's almost unfun. We'll send our Frost Maiden in to steal some technology.
I disgrace the Ice Court.
Of course you fail. Why would you succeed for us when we need you to the most?
Boris Ursus.
Or so that means we're going to go ahead and divert and hit the burning monolith directly. Not good sack value, but we have a large army here for us to kill, which will be good value. And I'm going to auto-resolve this one as well. You get maximum rewards for auto-resolving, so even though it's a little more anticlimactic, it does allow you to win and gain maximum rewards.
Disciple.
Combine these Kossars a bit. Got ourselves a Helm of Discord, and Makrina, you're going to come on across and keep an eye on Archaon. Truthfully, if we can ignore the Cool and destroy Archaon directly, that's what we're going to try to do.
Wow.
You're not really empire building until you've dealt with some of the main threats.
Kislev's chosen.
Crystal Spires. Go ahead and put in the breastworks. And the merchant traders. It's going to be sketchy, but we should be able to get another good fight with Boris next turn.
Chaos cannot stand.
Highborn son.
And we can also shoot across the Crystal Spires should Bastion decide to attack it. We've got ways to defend, for sure.
Blood flows through me.
Oh, this we need to pass up some skills, brother. Brand Builder is construction time for gear. Oh, it's only in the local region. That is a bummer. An absolute bummer. Yeah, let's go Woundmaker ×2 into Colossal Strike. So up to 592 weapon strength.
Priest of the great orthodoxy.
You, brother, we're going to continue to give Tenacity for more health,
Which
Magic
do we-
Reserves, and Heart of Winters. You have both options.
Oh,
And it would appear that we are beating Archaon down so badly, he's trying desperately to get a peace treaty. No, sir. Next turn, we've got Prague Veterans, and Bastion goes after our smaller settlements. And you can see exactly why we chose not to do anything with them. And in fact,
I will kill you. And no power in creation will stop me.
Okay, Malice, how about you relax? I was about to give you a settlement. Wait a second, I can't give him the one I'd want to. That seems like bull. He's right next to it.
something threatens Kislev's sanctity.
Sheer shenanigans. That's bull. That's all we were trying to do.
Right.
Alright, what about you then, Masters of Innovation?
Come on, see your
We
piece
can't at all.
now.
That doesn't make any sense. This settlement is right on the edge of their territory. Why can't I give it to
Shouldn't
him?
you be licking the underside of rocks.
I can give him the
somewhere
Crystal
else,
Spires.
scum?
That seems incredibly bugged. No, that's just the way it is. I won't complain. We've got Prague Veterans, so all of our archers are dealing a little bit more damage, and also dodges Hearthblades. Elite Zargard,
Lord of all.
which we really can't afford right now. We could go after the Monolith of Vesterlung, or we can put the heel on the neck of Archaon and squish. And I think that's going to be the call. Makrina,
May the
join.
Ice Court shall provide.
Ice Court shall provide.
It is Ursun's wish.
Thank goodness for Quartermaster. And then
Hear me roar.
Khan King. What a good skill. Allegiance points with Kislev. Allowed tier support difference between the Orthodoxy. Relations, devotion, and enemy leadership reduction. That's the most exciting part of that. -7.
Instrument against chaos.
Alright, let's pick up another Kossar. Then Igior. You are, in fact, going to sprint to the spires.
Pain is irrelevant.
Pain is irrelevant.
A step.
Yeah, you're gonna keep knocking out our larger settlements. I mean, we could sell them the Volcano's Heart and then the Tower of Flies, but I just don't think it's
Things
gonna work.
may
Let's see.
get unpleasant.
So if I give you the Volcano's Heart,
here,
that's a heap of cash.
I do not fail.
I'll come back to kill you later on, sir, no worries. And then can I give him the Tower of Flies now, too? Ridiculous that I couldn't before.
Malice. Kill me if you dare.
It is beyond bugged. That's funny. Then we will circle back to the land and pick up Oblast Scavengers into Troll Country Pathfinders. Then we'll get growth.
The bear lifts us.
Power is my right.
I'm gonna go ahead and take the Crystal Spires up to a town. We at least have a couple of decently upgraded settlements now, and we'll grab the Ice Court building here. Because our Ice Court support is dropping a little bit more than we would like. On the next turn, we've moved into surround Baronair here in the Writhing Fortress, which is going to be a doozy of a fight. And what I'm also going to do is come into the Howling Citadel, and even though it's only 3 turns till, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this construction. That way we can bank some cash and make sure we don't go fully bankrupt while Boris is out crusading around. We are going to just keep a hold of the Crystal Spires. Because it's got the breastworks here, we've got the walls going in. We should be able to hold this quite a bit better. and actually continue to upgrade it with just Ekior here, which I think we are going to go for. The rest of these settlements, unfortunately, we're just going to have to not worry about. This fight is going to be brutal because we are at a tier 4 Dark Fortress. Let me see if I can show you. They have access to improved tower projectiles just from base, which, while complete nonsense, is something we will have to deal with. Don't know what the point of the guarded towers improving the projectiles when so too does the Dark Fortress. We should probably make the Dark Fortress not actually improve your tower projectiles and just give your walls, towers, and gates more health. They don't need any more help. Look at all this. Look at this garrison. They don't need help. Good news is the Chosen have been replaced. From what it seems, with some marauders from their vassals. We've got Thorson's Thunderstorm, we've got a powered-up Boris, a couple of Ice Witches, and some very highly statted troops due to our research and just their skill. Let's see if we have what it takes to conquer the settlement. Taking down Archaon here would give us a lot of breathing room. Yes, our ball is going to be coming after us too, but he won't be able to build up nearly as quickly as the War Host of the Apocalypse. Alright, we're here. I'm going to try a little bit of a different strategy for taking out this settlement. If you notice, there's not very much space between this blocker and behind the walls. So our Kossars should, in theory, be able to fire over without too much trouble. We'll want to save our Winds of Magic for when the AI blob up like big old dumbs, and then we drop down the Thunderstorm to end as many of them as we can. Let's do this. Battle realism camera being a pain. Alright, Kossars, you know the drill. March for Kislev. We'll have Boydenov's Brawlers come on over, the armored Kossars stick in behind them. Start working our way across. If we need to give them any bonus range, I don't actually think you have your spells yet. No, Death Frost will be great for dropping their lords, though. Any of those exalted heroes of chaos? Not anymore. Get in there, Boris and Ursun. He's a speedy bear. Give him credit. See if we can't not get hit by the Hellcat blasts, please and thank you. Ooh, nice shots. Those really well aimed, brothers. You two stay here. And those were also... I don't know if they're trying to predict where he's moving or what. Start chopping through those gates. And it's small damage for a quote-unquote siege attacker. We need our artillery. It's just going to be a very long time before we have them. This is one where I might have actually preferred to have, instead of Solyak's Lullaby, the Song of Winter Sunlight, that way we can get everyone's vigor back. Oh yeah, they can definitely reach over. Trolls, I would rather them not fire upon, but if we have no choice. This guy here, Chillhop, how much health do you have? 4,000? That's not bad. Who has the better stats? 65, 63. Definitely the Lord. Now they're hiding from our Kossars at all costs. Not a bad idea. It'll also allow us to get some of the Kossars in closer. These Forsaken must be in a weird spot. We'll have up to 89 Winds of Magic, so it means we have the Thunderstorm and a few extra casts. Yeah, wasting shots on the trolls is not useful. Thank you, Kossars. Rotate a bit there. Like how far away they're trying to stay. And trying to bait a Thorson's. Not gonna work. We also now have that glorious charge, so we should have an easier time routing off these forces of chaos here. 83 leadership. That's a lot for Forsaken. 81 of the Bearmen. Well, they've got plenty of leadership. I guess wrong. I figured they could hit the Forsaken. Guess they're trying to fire way too far. And while Boris very slowly gets through the walls, let's see if the Frost Maidens can hit this hero with their shard.
Bringer of Hoarfrost.
The Ice Shard of Death. Yeah, let's see.
The storm.
Seems like a perfectly straight shot. And it misses. Alright, so we won't do that again. We definitely need those. Two bears tearing at the gates should get through them relatively quickly. I'm surprised none of our guys can shoot. All of their arcs are completely... Looks like they want to, but they're just not... They're not. Maybe just because they can't. 3 of you come around. Might be able to fire there. If they get the towers up and running, we're in trouble, so we can't allow that. And like that, they immediately activate the towers again. Yeah, let's not get hit, please. Those are gonna hurt. Elkin and Blast gonna do some shenanigans? They tried. Alright, we are through the gates. If we can knock out a couple of these units at the same time, that'd be awesome. So, if we charge the trolls, what happens then? Their towers attack.
Guided by Ursun.
Well, you'll love to see it.
Anything for Kislev.
Rush in and go for the Death Frost on Gulator here. Not scared of these trolls. We can beat them down fairly quickly.
Following Ursun's footsteps.
Oh, she decided not to use the Death Frost.
The Tsar.
Do they immediately respond? Or they do. Come on outside the settlement, draw them out.
I go.
Maiden, moving. I go.
Death Frost. Why can't she cast it?
The lost Tsar.
That feels like shenanigans to me.
To battle.
Seal the free.
It was shenanigans. Got it.
Frost Maiden.
Boris and the Patriarch rip in. Let's have Boris just go crazy.
Maiden of Ice.
Heart of Winter is going to be a lot of damage, but there's not that many of them here. Go for it.
Daughter of Ice. Following the storm. Treading Hoarfrost.
For the motherland.
Yeah, just drain what we can here in this first group.
Boris Ursun.
Especially when the secondary tier kicks in.
Led by right. On frozen
If we advance our infantry, though, they're just going to get torn apart. We absolutely cannot.
for the ice.
We can bring them across and capture the tower. That'd be awesome.
Taking position.
Just very unlikely. Death Frost Talagast here.
The storm.
Yeah, we need to kick in the first of the Seleucus Lullaby.
Execution.
They're doing a decent job of killing that leader there, which is perfect. Bring in the bears. A I'd like to bring in the armored Kossars as well. Claim the entirety of the walls real quick. Patriarch, you tried to get the other direction. Boris can easily deal with that hero.
For the ice.
Hit this fool with the Death Frost.
And glory.
We've got 45 left.
Frost Maiden.
Kossar's in. Yeah, they're going to start activating the towers. Nothing we can do about that. We just have to charge. Why are the bears deciding not to give their full orders? Awesome.
Frost Maiden.
Losing a lot of health.
Yes.
Neither of you two can really get involved. But if you can come in and use the Ice Shard on Gulator, that'd be great. It's our own lad, too. Sulyuk's Lullaby. Drain this group here. The bears have arrived. Yeah, the shenanigans are in full swing now. Ice Shard's just gonna do damage to friendlies. Boris, get in there. Gotta bring the troops in. Patriarch, we definitely could use you. Bears bash right through. Not happy that we've lost one of them. Frost Maiden, you get in and help. Come off to the side if you can, actually, both of you. Heart of Winter is going to be perfect here. Utter bullcrap and shenaniganery. Take the tower from them quickly. Now that we are in your settlement, though, it is gonna be tough to get us out. Back this way, Ice Witch. They have any leaders that have decided to close the gap? He's decided to run, actually. Smart call, brother, smart call. The towers belong to, well, they should be belonging to us, but look how fast they dismantled our army. We've got, like, nothing left now out of these Kossars. Alright, Zargard, get in there.
It is done.
You guys hang out up top. And then the ones that are in melee just switch to holding the wall. You have to lose folk to kill demons. Buff up that charge bonus. Kill Talicast. Hunt him down. Alright, Ice Witch, you can start throwing your Glacial Freeze towards... Oh, the trolls just immediately run when you target them. Into the Chaos Warriors with halberds. Bears come back. Beautiful shot. But you can just do the same. Boris, get ripping. You're inside your settlement now, fools. Have the Ice Witch come back a little bit. She is being protected by that barrier. It just won't last very long. Alright, Bear Brothers, you fall back. Boris is just built different. 18 reserve. Let's let some of our missiles do their work. Last upon those Halberdier warriors. Kinda scared about bringing them in. Voidenov's brawlers are, while effective, it's kinda like an A10. The friendly fire is
March or kill
more possible than you'd like. Get in there, boys. You're out of pistol shot. That's a really good spot for a Thorson's Thunderstorm. Let's go ahead and teach these idiots the true meaning of war. Zargard, you fall back. Form a wall. Let Boris hold.
Frost Maiden.
I had to fall back for a reason, because Thorson's Thunderstorm cares not from whence the blood flows. Warbears kill these trolls, they're shaken, stir them up. And it does even fair damage to single entities. Such a good ability. Kill these Chaos Warriors. Armored Kossars join the fray. Gonna shut down those Chaos Warriors. We need the Voidenov's brawlers actually to be up on top. Zargard are fighting hard, but they are losing models. Nice witch tossing dudes around. They've got some really cool animations. Alright, now we can get another Heart of Winter going. There's not enough of these guys left to actually hold. Zargard, let's give you a guard mode, that way you're not getting taken out.
Follow the frost.
This flank is broken. All of you in. There's find someone else to hit. Somehow their leader has stayed away from Boris the entire time. It's pretty impressive. Frostbite kicks in. The brawlers are taking their sweet time getting here.
The dogs take food from our mouths.
They wouldn't dare. Attack those halberdiers, get the glorious charge active for as long as we can. Have Boris go crazy. Everyone with a bow move in. Although we do have chariots, don't we? Here, you guys come back here. Quickly. Look at him run. You coward. There's still more casualties to take, unfortunately. Armored Kossars should shut down these chariots really well. Normal Kossars will not, they'll just be run over. Be support, troops. Be support. Shotguns are finally starting to rip in. Get our Patriarch out of there.
Frost Maiden. Maiden of Ice.
You're just not taking very much damage, are they? And everyone's staying so far away from Voidenov's brawlers. That's hilarious. Alright, their leader's gone. Send the bears round. to rout off these trolls. One set of Zargrad's gonna stay here, the other's gonna go around and take out these Marauder Bearmen.
Ursun's right hand.
You're just gonna kill this Chaos Lord.
Obey the orthodoxy. I must.
There's no place for Lords of Chaos here.
Frost Maiden.
Charged from multiple angles, they break. The end of the Everchosen. Our losses completely replenishable, and we just stole a tier... Well, it should be a tier 4 settlement, but we'll see by the time we're done here. And as long as Archaon didn't yeet one of his lords out into the wilderness to try to survive, that should be the end. 5,000 more gold is something we could sorely use. And we can't deal any damage. We want to take this as high tier as possible. Drops to tier 2! The disrespect. Well, we'll go ahead and take it. Up to a town, and then we'll put in the Brewerest Works and the Market Square. From here, we just have to focus on surviving. Surviving and building up the capital settlements we currently have. Howling Citadel is going to be one that you are going to allow to fall if you have to. But the death of the Warhost of the Apocalypse and the fact that you're now just kind of dealing with Norskins and then our ball from the Deep South is amazing. We can also finally make use of the Great Builder here for a little bit of construction cost reduction and construction time reduction as well. And then we just keep making Boris an absolute monster. Blade shield for you, sir. Patriarch needs to be more tenacious and, let's say, more armor.
Frost Maiden.
Frost Maiden can get her Snow Leopard, which is
Maiden of the
just
Frost.
amazing. More summons, and especially summons that are really good at hunting down obnoxious spellcasters in the back line. So we'll upgrade Hailstorm. We'll get Freezing Winds, which will slow enemies on the map every time we cast. And we want Gust of True Flight. 30% more range, 30 more accuracy. Very good ability. So when we come back to the Writhing Fortress and stop the building and then takes 2 turns for the walls, still 7 for the town. And a single for the Market Square, as it was previously. Alright, so we will then pass the turn. Igor cannot afford any more troops. I don't mind, though, coming out.
Bow to me.
Maybe trying to... Nah, it's gonna take attrition. We're not Boris. We can't exist in the Chaos Waste for free.
Threaten Kislev. This I take personally.
Also, Tamarkon's immediately declare war on us. You don't get a single break as Boris. Alright, and with Tammy declaring war on us, we do need to get quite aggressive towards the Bleeding Spire here.
On earth, chaos, filth.
As long as we don't leave the Writhing Fortress, we continue to have the extra build time and build reduction. So we're going to go on down. There you are, Jason. Now to teach you a very fun lesson.
Boris Ursun.
Your place in this world.
Lord of the
We're also going to come back over to Igor, and it's going to be something a little bit spooky, but we're going to take and disband 4 of these
I will
Kossars.
suffer no wastrels.
And they're not the wastrels, we just can't afford them right now, which is both sad and unfortunate. Yeah, we're going to grab the merchant traders here. We'll cut this in half. We're currently being raided, so that's part of the issue.
Ursun's disciple.
Ooh, you're lucky I can't reach. I want to be far enough forward that I can hit the Bleeding Spire next turn. And if Jason just keeps raiding here, hopefully the fortress will have decent enough defenders. We shall see. Alright, well the AI does actually go for a fairly decent play here, which means Tamarkon's probably pretty close. We do thankfully get the Oblast Scavenger, some more magical items and incomes, just from beating people up, so just in time for that one. Yeah, they move up this way to basically keep us from attacking the Spire. We can't lose the fortress, not after we just picked it up. We're gonna pursue this army of Norskins. You
Slaying is my purpose.
got some legs on you, Jason.
Taste my spit.
That is for sure. Auto-resolve.
We are Ursun's
We lose
clones.
quite a few. We're gonna go ahead and take the replenishment. We're getting a lot of bonus experience just from fighting them, naturally. We'll haul Sheik back to the fortress.
I have missed such comforts.
Good. Oh, you can't quite reach. Either way, we've slain a fairly important force for Norska, and if we can just keep farming Norska for money while we try to build up, that is going to be the way. I didn't think he had the stones to attack us. See, this extra... Is the ice court gone? Is that why it doesn't matter anymore? Did she get knocked out that quick? Come on now, Katerin. It would appear so, yeah, that's corruption. We're only 22 turns in. Has Azazel done that well for himself? Yikes. Oh no, here she is. What am I talking about? I wonder why it doesn't care that we're now... Huh. Let's not worry about it. UI is being funky. Back with Boris and his skills, we're getting very close to Colossal Strike. Which will mean he can pretty easily then duel with Tamarkan.
Orthodoxy sees all.
It does. Pick up that Enduring Devotion.
Tutored by ice.
And then I think we pick up the final tier Snow Leopard.
Blizzard's embrace.
For you, lass, we're gonna boost income. Next turn, we actually should be able to handle our Empire until our ball shows up and just curb stops the Howling Citadel. We'll find out soon.
You are my enemy.
I'm sorry, you want peace after all that you have done? No. Definitely gonna pick rationality that we can have better relations with everyone. We need to be able to show up in the Empire and in Kislev and just be a hero.
Ready to ambush.
I adore that line. Yeah, we're definitely falling behind in support. I would love some... What are you doing there? Oh, hang on. What we like to see. We'll lose some Kossars. I don't care. Freeze our economy up. We will take... the experience. Alright, you come on back into the spires. We have some fairly elite Kossars now, but the rest of them died horribly. Hailstorm Strike is incredibly cool. 15 bonus V infantry, 50% splash attack power, and then this Shatter ability. Which seems very similar. It's a breath attack out of a blade, which seems very similar to what the Celestial Generals have. Alright, well from here we get hard to hit since you've lost your army. And you really don't need one. You're there to hold the line by yourself like a boss. Be the Helm of Discord, that should help. And then a Sword of Battle. Mad's map will just screw you over.
Live and die for
Give you the Armor of Destiny.
Maiden
Then our other maiden can have the... Well, if we combine these two. Iron Ice Armor. Hey, that's pretty cool. No one needs an Outrider's handgun. Tax collectors are great. Alright, and from here, I'm basically just kind of trying to get Tamarkan over so you can... Alright, and from here, we're basically just going to bring Boris down and try to figure out where Tamarkan's army is. And if he's over here, we're going to get
On your feet.
throat chopped in the night.
I go for Kislev.
Alright, beautiful. So the Writhing Fortress is well on its way to upgrade. The Howling Citadel I just don't want to touch anymore.
My decision is
And then
law.
Igor, we can afford 2 more units. Let's do it. It was sad you had to lose them in the first place. Men asking if Katerin knows he lives. We sent Makrina over to check if Tamarkan is close by. I don't think he's even... Who's you at war with, sir? It appears that Kolek has decided that Tamarkan is a Zed he needs to pop, which is disgusting, but he's got quite the hammer for it. And he's an excellent distraction.
For Kislev.
I'm a little concerned that just an army of Norse is going to come trundling in, but if they go after these two undefended settlements, I'm entirely fine. Let's cut them off the Bleeding Spire. Even if Tamarkan comes back over and claims this, that's not a problem, because the Cool are no longer here.
I will impale them.
Going back up with Boris.
Shall provide. Wintertide's child. I control the
And then let's go ahead and pick up, ooh, a better chance to grab magical items. Slaughter them all.
There is with us.
I am tempted to do some stealing. Let's simply occupy.
Device now.
Lizard Brooch would be great for the wizards. Ooh. Horse archers. That's going to be devastating against, Tamarkan. How much do they cost? 127. That's only a little bit more than our Kossars. Is it time to become the Mongol Horde? Combine all of our gold Kossars together.
Workers.
Faithful workers. Oh, it made these guys much more elite. That's cool.
I have
They're about to get kicked out, but...
cowards.
Hey, they're not cowards.
Strength.
But they are getting upgraded with horses. Igor will go ahead and pick up... He's got an unfortunate upkeep, so we'll pick up one more Kossar. He doesn't really need any more than this. He's playing defense. Meanwhile, Boris is going to be bopping as many of these Nurglites as possible. Leaving Kolek to his own devices might be an issue, though. Alright, gang, from here, you're actually in a fairly decent spot to start finishing off more factions and building up your own empire little by little. Boris is living in a terrible spot at the moment. If we can get one of our heroes down to go visit Katerin to start building up some positive relations with her, that is going to be very, very important, very needed. What I would say your immediate strategy with Boris is to come back over and claim the Monolith of Bubonicus, so you can have a province under your control that you can then switch the Ward Save commandment to. Igor is going to continue to build up units. And I think you will end up wanting to give him the Hearth Blades and as many of the Regiment of Renown as you can. You give him a couple of aces in the hole and claim these two settlements. You don't have to worry about doing it super quickly, but getting both the settlements will allow you to have a second province, and once you do, you get an adamant that can help you defend. At that point forward, if you lose any of the settlements and lose any control of those provinces, the adamant isn't just going to pack up and go home. He'll continue to defend whatever settlement you put him in, which is fantastic. The Adamans are great defenders, and they have all sorts of good skills that will allow you to keep those settlements under your control. Because for the most part with Boris's campaign, you are continuing to play very aggressive defense. You kill a large army, then you take a settlement. You kill a large army, maybe you lose a settlement. You just keep trying to position yourself to take out the important forces of the different enemy factions around you while wiping out one at a time. If one of them is making progress on you, while you're killing off our ball, don't get distracted, keep killing our ball until he is gone, and then turn to deal with the others. It feels strange, but Boris's campaign is a very difficult one, and one that plays very different from your other Kislev factions. That is going to be all for this guide. Thank you all for stopping on by, and if you made it to the end here, you are the best. Let me know in the comments if you might do anything a little bit different here for Boris's campaign. Leave those tips, allow us to build up our strategy knowledge together, and also throw in the comments any campaigns that you think are very difficult you'd like to have me to build a good grief wizard English. Also in those comments, let me know which factions you find the most difficult and what you'd like to see me make a legendary guide for. Next, I think our very next set are either going to be one of the Mono Gods, or the Ogres in the Mountains of Morn. So that's where we are headed next, but it's going to be a bit of a mystery box. Thanks all for stopping on by. If you enjoyed, please do remember to leave a like for the Light God and a sub for the Sub Zone, and even hit the hype button. It helps the channel out, and I appreciate it a ton, and I'll see you all in the next one.